So welcome to this hour presence practice where today we will be adventuring in the second half into the experience of Qigong. And especially today, exploring one aspect of Qigong that can be very practically useful in daily life. And this is the practice of Qi down, or a sense of giving our coarse Qi to the earth. What could that possibly mean? Well, if we think about when we are more activated, even if we're just, thinking really hard, there can be this sense of being more in our head and more kind of bunched, and there's a lack of refinement and even a lack of feeling of that, presence includes all of our body, all the way to our feet, all the way to our fingertips. And so with the practice of Qi down and all of the hour presence practice does help with this. And today we get to kind of see some of how tapping into these qualities of nature, especially the free flow, so that we do feel that fineness, less coarse sense of Qi, more fine free flow as a flow of nature. And then letting ourselves feel that more fully in the entirety of our presence, starting with the field of our body. And not neglecting our head, but there's usually plenty up there already. So let's begin. And eyes can be open or closed. If you choose to leave your eyes open today, letting the gaze feel inward, and maybe letting the eyes be soft and the gaze lower in front of you. And as we begin to tune into our inner landscape, especially feeling the out breath, noticing how there's a kind of a lowering, a centering, settling sense with the out breath. Perhaps contrasting that a little bit in one's experience with the in-breath and the rising sense of the in-breath. Coming to know how these flows in our inner nature retreat affect the nuances of how we feel. And that's some of why in the foundations, these first 30 minutes, we tend more to feel into the out breath. That releasing, letting go, settling down. sense of the out breath. And physically, even laying down where the shoulders can lay down more fully to the torso on the next couple of out breaths. Letting go of extra tension there. And then we might include a little more movement. So even just kind of give them a little bit of a shake, give them a little bit of a wiggle. Sometimes without knowing it, we're kind of holding. And when I say, lay down, there can even be like a pressing, just letting the arms be loose and free. And they naturally, with their own weight, simply settle. And now we'll also begin to feel this in our hands as they rest. They rest on our lap. Feeling how the hands have weight that naturally carries them to rest right into the support of our lap. Nothing we need to do. So for the next couple of out breaths, just letting go sense of the out breath help us release tension, unnecessary holding in our hands from the inside. We lay down. And you're welcome to just stay there if you'd like. Or if you'd like to experiment and raise the hand slightly and just give the wrist a shake, give the fingers a shake. Let them be totally floppy. Nothing tensed, nothing controlled. And boom, just let them fall. And let them rest. And let them simply settle. Relaxed. Laying down naturally to your lap. And feeling into that place of contact, connection. Hand and lap. Felt experience there of that give and take, that yin and yang, that exchange of forces of the hand weight going into the lap and the lap support going into the hand. simultaneously, moment by moment. The taste of it, as we sometimes say, a tangible taste of immediate flowing connection. That when we're more up in our head, we tend not to feel. And that when we do feel, we feel as a kind of ballast. The immediacy of interconnection. And now turning our gentle noticing to our seat with an openness to discovering a similar flavor. These qualities of nature, like this connecting mutual flow quality of nature, always arises specifically and in its own unique way, and yet has a common taste that we can, quite literally develop a taste for. It's like a connoisseur of anything. So feeling into that connection between seat and ground, and what similarities does it share with hands and lap? What common taste runs through them all? Contactful, tangible, yin and yang mutual, where both sides of the interaction lay down and support up, seemingly opposites that arise together. And what if practice was less about, trying anything in particular and just savoring that taste of togetherness, savoring it and letting it nourish us like we might savor and let a nourishing mouthful of food And taking the next 3 out breaths, to settle, simply settle more fully into that connection, into that savoring. And having laid down and settled more, taking a few breaths now where more emphasis on the in-breath. And like we can take what the earth can give us, the support of the ground, the earth, like we can take it up and receive it more fully. And so it feels like it's rising through us, yes, on the in-breath. But it also feels steady, connected, flowing. We may feel like we're sitting more with the fullness of presence and connection with the ground, so that we're sitting like a mountain. Instead of feeling top heavy in our head, we have a wide base of presence connected with the earth. And when I say we have it, I do mean we always have it. These are qualities of nature that we always have as part of nature. And sometimes we feel them more than others. That's all. And these qualities of presence are not like we typically expect with analogies like mountains. Like we wouldn't expect a mountain to also be as free flowing as air. But presence doesn't align with our analogies of how we expect things to be. It's just the way nature arises. And so we'll now turn to the free flow quality. So continuing to feel the body presence. And including a feeling of the air coming in and out of the nose. and go right into the alternate nostril noticing pattern. You're familiar and like that practice. And all we're doing here is opening how there's this stream. There's this flowing stream. It's invisible since it's the air, but we can feel it. And it flows inside of us. And it flows to around us. And in that passage, we get to sense right there in the space inside of our nose just how fine that free flow is. Do we ever find a limit, a limiting coarseness to this flow of nature that is like a gentle breathing wind coming in, flowing out? As I often remind us, it's not about grasping the finest flow, it's about this discovery that we have this irresolvable, practically infinite, ever finer flows within flows that we can open to like a fractal that just keeps on showing further layers of fine freedom, all right at our very own nose. And as we continue to, in this part of the breath, in this nostril, this instant, open to the finest flow we can feel. In a way, becoming familiar with this sense of opening, a sense of opening to find free flow without expecting to grasp an end. as we can apply that same sense to any flow of nature. Since any part of nature, so far as we know, is comprised of all these flows with an ever finer flows. And that includes our body, includes our tissues, includes our bones, includes our nerves, includes anything that we might think of that comprises our experience. No coarse grain size. Like we explored last time, it flows all the way down. And letting the focus at the nose gently fade. See if there was any becoming a little more top heavy with that more noticing in and around our face and head area. And having touched in and become familiar with that sense of opening to find free flow, we're now going to do that for our body, inviting that same feeling down into our body. And one way that we do this is by breathing in and feeling our breath coming down inside of us. And then on the out breath, noticing the downward cascading wave of the front body. In breath comes down inside us. We feel that free flow entering inside of us. And then the cascade of the front body, it's this same free flow, the wave-like motion of our body itself. We're feeling the fine free flow quality of nature on the in-breath, coming down, and on the out-breath, coming down. And this is something that I go to when I'm feeling a little top heavy and wanting to feel more chi down, because we get to feel that downward, down into the body sense on the in breath. And on the out breath. And it's a fine free flow for both. And this is a little more nuanced, but if you've been practicing this for a while, we'll do a slight variation for the last interval. We're invited to continue to feel on the in breath that free flow of the breath coming down inside you. And it can come as down, down, down as far as you would like. And then on the out breath, as usual, we'll feel to the very tip of our finger, starting with our thumb on both hands. Next out breath, next finger, all the way to the fingertip. For the finger by finger breath. And on the out breath, we're feeling that fine free flow of our fingers all the way to the sensitive fingertip. And this time on the in breath, we can continue if we'd like. Feel the fine free flow of the breath coming down inside of us. And if that feels too noisy or back and forth, just do the fingers. It's about what feels more settling and freeing, not busy work for our practice. Continuing through several rounds. You may like to put a little micro movement, slightly elongating the finger that you're feeling to the fingertip of. And now on this next round, feeling that the breath, the out breath, can actually fill the volume of those fingers. Fill it with sensitive, refined like fluid. Chi flow. Presence. The practically infinite freedom of being a flow of nature. Whatever words we put to it, it's filling that space that lets us know that our finger is happening in that space. Filling it to the very brim. filling it to the last part and particle of the wholeness of our fingers. Since it's comprising the wholeness of our fingers. And gradually letting the finger by finger noticing fade. Slightly spreading all the fingers. Feel the spaces in between all 10 fingers. And let the heart of the hand feel open. And there's that integrity of your hands, wholly in this moment. Nothing lingering, nothing racing ahead. The hands just always being what they are. Being this flow of nature and space. And if you'd like to play with a sense of not grasping this feeling, trusting that it would always be there. Can raise the hands slightly and just give them a good shake. Give them a floppy, all whatever they want to do, all out shake. Well, wait a second, we're not being careful anymore. We're not being so deliberate and calm and well, what's going to happen? And then just drop the hands. Let them rest completely on the lap. And for the next few moments, not try to manage your experience in any particular way. Why manage it? Just holiday, complete holiday from trying to manage ourselves for just the next few moments. I invite you to take your hands now as they are and bring them to your lower dantian, a little bit below your belly button. And what would it be like to allow these whole and alive and sensitive hands resting on your body, to be the ones that witness the flow of movement beneath them. So whether your eyes are open or closed, there's no need to look down. The hands themselves are sensing the wave of the breath beneath them. You may find yourself looking at your hands, but actually your hands don't need you to look at them. Your hands are flowing with their own sensations and signals, their own messages that let us know effortlessly where they are in space and what they're touching, and what they're sensing. Take the observer who may be hanging out between your eyes out of the equation for just a moment, or just imagine it's gone on vacation for just a little bit. And our sensing hands are doing our awareness for us immediately, right in place. And this can be a furthering of the experience of feeling less top heavy. As long as we have a sense of a heavy-handed observer looking down at the body, we're not quite opening to the effortlessness and fullness of presence that is naturally experienced right where it arises. Right at our hands meeting our belly, and the moment by moment shifts of movement, pressure, contact happening there. And for a moment here, just imagine what it would be like to put your sense of yourself as being right there where hand and belly meet, or even a little bit inside in the middle of you at that level. Let yourself be there. Imagine that that's your reference point. Instead of I being up in your head, what would it be like to have this reference point of being more at your lower dantian? And there's actually, nothing really to try for here. That reference point is just a lot more flexible than we tend to think it is, because it is a construction in our mental map. And so we can place it in many places throughout the body and also diffuse it throughout the sense of our body and even beyond. Just dropping the hands. And we're going to come into standing. And as we transition, just if anything landed for you in those explorations, soaking it in. If anything felt strange or uncertain, and just let that flow by for now. And as we continue to practice, these experiences tend to more and more clarify for us gradually, slowly. And we'll now get to do a little bit of very serious Qigong hokey pokey, where bend over slightly and just give the arms a shake. If you'd like, can give one arm the shake, give the other arm a shake. You not have to approach this from a sense of over control, gradually coming up and maybe giving the arms a couple of swings. If you'd like, can bounce or not, up to you. As you do so, can roll the shoulders. If you'd like to sigh or make some lip trills, welcome to do that. And can shake out one leg and use the chair for balance if you'd like. Include the ankle, let the ankle be floppy. Shake out the other leg. I wasn't joking about the Tai Chi hokey pokey. And then all the way down to the ankle. And just giving the whole body a little bit of a... Sometimes I like to think of it, it's like the dog coming out of the pond, and they're just gonna shake everything off and get those water drops off. And now coming into our Uji stance. Gently bending over slightly and feeling the heaviness of our arms hanging limp and loose off our shoulders. Gradually coming up and continuing to let those shoulders lay down. Lay down to the support beneath. And this is a little tricky, but we can play and practice with it. We're going to bring our arms around again to the lower dantian, a little bit below the belly button. Notice if tension has crept into the shoulders. Continue to feel the shoulders laying down. And with eyes open or closed, taking that inward turn and feeling into the lower dantian, the movement of the breath there. And what would it be like to feel ourselves being there? Witnessing right there from inside our lower dantian, the flow of the breath. And if we feel ourselves trying to force it down at all, taking the arms and extending them up and feeling like you can catch where you feel the observer is. And as the hands float down, let that sense of the observer gently be coaxed downward. Come down. Come into this home that you can always come into. And then replacing the hands at the lower dantian. And seeing if you feel it a little bit more from inside rather than from outside. And with that sense of inside your lower dantian, beginning to shift our weight 100% over to one leg. And the lower dantian witnesses that. I've been translated over in space. And then we translate the lower dantian over the other leg, all the way over. Continuing to shift back and forth. Where it's not I am weight shifting, it's my lower dantian is going for this amazing ride through space. And it's taking in the view. What's it like over here? What's it like over here? A whole world of ever-shifting experiences from within your lower dantian. And just playing with this, playing this. So from within your lower dantian, witnessing the soles of your feet. Your sensitive soles of your feet shifting, spreading, laying down, receiving support. For the next couple of weight shifts, almost feeling as though all you have and all you need is from the waist down. And what is it like to savor that taste that we were talking about of mutual, contactful togetherness, feet and ground, taking it in, savoring it. Savoring it right in place. It doesn't have to come all the way up to our head experientially. Where do we experience it? We experience it right in that contact, foot and ground. And for the next couple of weight shifts, feeling that lower body ballast. Of presence. That's connected and tangible and right there like a mountain and as subtle and free flowing and refined as the gentlest breeze. All together at once. Gradually come where we are its center. And what does it feel like to be you in this moment? And this completes an hour of presence. Welcome to drop the hand. And as we often do, we just take 3 minutes where we're not practicing, we're not practicing. You just get to chill or not chill. There's just nothing to manage in this next 3 minutes except for letting ourselves have this space in which not to try and manage anything. Even if we find ourselves trying to manage ourselves, that's okay too. I talked about savoring earlier. I tend to call this coasting. Just get to coast, which can include antsiness for what's next. Can include anything. Just giving some coasting time. And as always, I'd like to thank you for adventuring together with me and together with us